And that's why it was so important that people pass those houses down. But what would happen is you would end up with these people. They would take these homes, they'd pass them down. The kids didn't understand what that meant. They didn't understand what was going on. And there would be a neighborhood that got gentrified, and the white people would come in and say, I'll give you $75,000 for that home. And a lot of black people who had never seen any money in their life think, oh, $75,000, that's a huge amount of money. And so they sell that home, not knowing that home was worth $500,000, $700,000, And so we need to do some of those jobs that we don't always want to do. I know everybody wants to be a ball player. Everybody wants to be a singer. Everyone wants to be an actor. Everybody wants to be a social media influencer. Everybody wants to do something big and lofty. And that's great for those who can. But there's a lot of other people out there that should go and become police officers, deputy sheriffs. My dad was a deputy sheriff for 33 years. He was able to get us in a position that we could go to college, that we didn't need to be out in the streets running around selling drugs or acting a fool. We were able to actually do things. My mom was an attorney and became a prosecutor. They were able to do things that were not real popular with black folks, but they were able to actually build a little wealth and actually able to help us move forward in life. And black folks need to do some of that, partly because we need to be able to protect ourselves, and getting in those positions will help protect us. And part of it is too, it's a matter of building wealth for those people who are not always going to be part of the talented 10th, as they say. And I hate to use that expression because I know that I am part of that talented 10th.
It's all good, brother. Well said.
Well said.
E-Man, finish this up, and then we'll go into your story next.
Man, so I guess I'll compliment a lot of what both of y'all said in some degree. I mean, I think knowledge is power, right? And we hear that so much that it's a cliche, but it literally really is power in this society, right? And that is something that, I mean, you're talking about when you look at the history on the books, ironically, black people are the only people that were like denied the right to read. It was against the law for us to just read, right. And you have to think about like what was so dangerous about us reading? Knowledge, because the more we know, the more powerful we are. And I think that goes into so many different things. I mean, Larry's right. Going into those unconventional jobs is something, but the thing is the complexity of the black problem, the racial wealth gap is literally just one problem. It's just one problem that we have. Now, of course, if we can solve that, it can trickle down and bleed into other situations, but it's literally just one thing that we have to tackle. So it's kind of like, yeah, we do need some more people that are policemen or, in military or whatever, but that still doesn't solve very much, right? Because we still need people that are making the actual laws and legislation and policies. That still doesn't really solve things, right? We still need, and I am very, very impassionate about this, we need black educators. We need black.
We do.
I was just talking to my homeboy about the fact that it took until high school for me to see my first black male teacher.
Bruh,
what?
High school.
Bruh, same, bro.
What?
That was the first time I ever saw, and I went to a predominantly black grade school, elementary school, middle school, all of that. I lived in a black neighborhood, and it took forever just to see one black male teacher. I didn't even have his classes. You know what I'm saying? But like the thing is, they're so influential, especially for black men. We look up, or black boys, we look up to black men. Black women will look up to black girls, to women, and so you know what I'm saying. Like that's important in terms of like guiding. I mean, just my little 4-year-old daughter. I'm sitting here remote learning with her. She's watching all this animated stuff, but I found this sister who's actually doing like preschool learning on YouTube, Miss Monica, and my kid is like glued to the TV, glued way more than any other cartoon learning program out there. So stuff like that matters. But going back to the racial wealth gap and stuff, the other part of what Brandon was talking about, yes, it's important for white folks because a lot of times white folks do have that knowledge that probably got passed down because of all the networking that they have access to.
And nepotism.
And nepotism, of course. It is so, I could tell you so many stories as being just a critic, how many times I've talked to my white colleagues asking for just advice. Yo, how do you do this? How do you get into screeners? How do you do that? Nothing. Nothing. They don't tell me nothing. And I have to go learn the hard way. I have to almost get banned. I have to almost get, violate, embargoes or whatever. I'm learning the hard way because all these people that are already in this industry didn't want to give me a leg up. Didn't want to tell me nothing. That's why, like, when I'm networking with you brothers, if y'all got a question, I got you. Because I know what it felt like to be iced out like that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's something that we always have to do is we do have to share and network our information amongst each other, because a lot of times the reason why we're in the position we're in is due to a lack of knowledge. And just again, because I don't want to go too long with this, but just to bring this back, you have to think about financial literacy. I don't care if you're a tradesman to a PhD. You're going to use money. You need to learn how to use it. You need to learn the 3 basics: saving, budgeting, investing. If you could, this is what I'm teaching my kids right now. They said that the younger you teach your kids, like, just to have a bank account, the more exposure they get, the more financially literate and sound they will get down the road. That is where we need to start, because it does, like I said, it doesn't matter where you are in life. You're going to pay taxes. You're going to have debt to deal with. You're going to have money. Financial literacy is the thing. I don't care what you're doing. Go pick up a financial literacy book. I'm not talking about how to get rich quick. I'm just talking about the basics. Go get an Investing for Dummies book. Don't feel insulted. Literally go take it. It will open up your eyes to all these. Don't look for the get rich quick schemes. That's not important, because if it was that easy, everybody would do it.
And nobody would put that information in the book that they're trying to sell you either.
Matter of fact, it's a hustle just to do that. It's a hustle just to sell you information. But if you can take the time, you got a channel like this, Life Gains, investing information all day. Come and support that, because this is how you get to learn little basics and stuff that help decrease that racial wealth gap. It's financial literacy. That's one element if we're just talking about the wealth gap aspect, because it still bleeds into political stuff. We as a community, because I like what Dr. Claude Anderson talks about, we need those power economics. We need to gain that capital. We sitting here giving our money to Nike and to all these other brands and stuff. We letting rappers and people influence us and entertainment. You know what it is. Brandon knows the deal.
Powernomics.
It's all about where do you put your money? Because your money, our money in our community talks. What do other communities do? What do rich, affluent, white suburban country, areas do? They buy politicians. They go grease them fundraisers. That's how they network. That's how they get laws passed. That's how they get policies through. What are we doing? Yo, I need them mics. I mean, I'm just saying, and I'm not trying to be preachy, but I need us to understand the difference. We've been conditioned to buying liabilities, not assets.
Exactly.
A car is a liability. A car don't do nothing for you unless you're an Uber driver and it's making you money.
Or you get a Tesla.
Man, whatever, man. You keep your Tesla down. But I'm just saying, I need you to shift your thinking. Just everybody shift your thinking. If whatever you're putting your money in does not make you more money, it's a liability.
Liability all day.
It's literally eating up your money. If you put money in something and then it comes back to you, now it's an asset or an investment. That's what, when they say money making money, that's the game. That's been the game. They used us through slavery to make them money.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Can I say something else real quick?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, go for it.
So, you made me think about this because you was talking about the wealth gap, and you was like, that's just one problem. The comment that Lamont was highlighting up there, and I pasted again. Like, we Black people, the goal, we need to have control over all 9 of these areas of activity across the globe. Like, we need to be in control of our own economics, our own education. We need to make sure we're in control of our own entertainment, labor law, politics, religion. If you're not religious, that's fine. But if you are religious, don't be worshiping a white Jesus or a white God. That don't make sense.
Yes.
Okay. That's how I'm saying there. Make sure you have the most constructive sex out there. If you're about to engage, if you're married, okay, have sex with your spouse and don't commit adultery. If you're not married, if you're gonna have sex, like, okay, is this sex constructive or non-constructive? You know, also we got to be able to defend ourselves. So those are the 9 areas of activity. You know, we got to engage in all of them. And the white supremacists have us on lockdown on each of those areas. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, who was a black psychiatrist and psychologist, a black psychologist and psychiatrist. I think I just said the same thing. She passed away in 2016. I love her race theory because majority of us have a very elementary understanding of race. So I would check that out too. She came up with the 10th area, which is medicine. That still kind of plays into the other one, but you know, if you want to get nitpicky, you can. And just the last thing I want to share before we move on, hopefully it'll work this time. If you want to share if I can share my screen, let me click the button real quick. This is a report that like William Sandy Darity that we was talking about earlier. He wrote this with a few other economists. It's called "What We Get Wrong About Closing the Racial Wealth Gap." If you just Google that title, it'll come up, and it's 67 pages long. Okay, just read it at your own leisure. It's just good information. It's good education. You know, it just talks about the racial wealth gap, huh?
I'll say y'all better be taking notes.
Yeah. So please, I'm trying to give y'all some information here. You know that'll help. So just look. I'm doing what I can. You know, pay attention to it at your own leisure. Share it with your family. Share it with your friends. It's the increasing education and engaging. And the last book that MLK wrote before he was assassinated. Where do we go from here? One of the things at the end of this book that he said is it takes a combination of education and social action.
Yep.
Okay, you have to educate yourself,
right?
But even if you educate yourself, you gotta talk to other black people about it. Okay, I read this book and I read this book. Okay, I read these books. Let's put all this together.
Knowledge
and yeah, you know, and there you go. You know, I'm done. But
no, you good. Hey, I just before we move on, I just wanted to highlight this. Y'all know I'm in Chicago. She's speaking facts right here. Okay, this is something that I went look just with my kids because I live in the burbs now. Just with my kids, when I went to high school, I was top 4 in my high school class, all of that honors class, AP, all of the good stuff. I thought I was smart, and I went to college, and I was like, "What's this?" And they were like, "Oh, this is just review." I was like, "Review? This is new to me. What is this engineering 100 class? What are y'all talking about? How do y'all know that?" Everybody else around me is just like, la 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 la. I'm like, I'm studying my butt off for the first week of class, because in my black dominated area school, they didn't teach us none of this. Now, luckily, I've been fortunate. You know, me and my wife, we've stacked our money enough and, you know, have a decent living to put our kids in a better school. And it's like, I'm looking at my daughter who's about to go to high school, and I'm like, yo, you got mechanical and engineering and all the, how are you getting these classes in high school that I was introduced to in college? You know, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, the education, and of course, the school that she's going to is, well, it's mixed. It's not all white, but it's a pretty good school. Luckily, we ain't got to pay private school or nothing. But the difference is ridiculous when it comes to the exposure of education. That's why, like, anyway, regardless of what they was going to introduce her to, I'm still trying to teach my kids stuff at home. And that's also equally important. But you got to educate yourself. Just like Brandon was talking about. You got to educate yourself so you can pass that knowledge down. So that way we're not sending our kids out there ill-prepared and ill-equipped. But anyway, let me leave it at that.
Well said, fellas. I think I'll just put in my small 2 cents, then we'll go ahead, E-Man, we'll let you introduce your story. For those of you that feel like you don't have any of these capabilities, there's a capability we all have. It just took one white dude to create it and put it on an electronic platform called Facebook. Each and every one of you has the ability to network with people you see that have your mindset, your heart, or doing better than you you can just reach out to them and say, look, I want to learn from you. I want to network with you. What can I do to be in your good graces or be of some service to you? Me personally, every one of these men that's educating you guys, I reached out to all of them individually. Not because I wanted anything, but I just wanted to network with them. I saw good in these brothers. I saw that there was a message that they could get across that could not only inspire someone, but educate someone besides just the great entertainment value that they all bring. And you know what? Anything I got, they got. All the knowledge I have, they have. Resources I got, they got. Networking is also a foundation for anyone can have, no matter how broke you are. And I just want to throw that 2 cents in there too. And I'm grateful to have these brothers in my corner.